विकसित भारत 2047 एक ध्येय एक सपन गोयचो फुडार बळकट करपाचो भारत देश विकसित करपाचो तुई भी ह्या मोहिमेन वांटेकार जा गोयचो विकास घडोवपाक तुई आपले योगदान दी आपल्यो आयडियाज वा सजेशन्स दिवपाक गोवा ऑनलायन पोर्टलाचेर वचून विजन डॉक्युमेंट तयार करपाक तुझे मोलादीक योगदान दी विकसित भारत 2047.
If I consider Goa's culture as a sculpture, who is a sculptor? Who is the sculptor of Goa's culture? If we consider Goa's culture as a sculptor, I feel the ocean is the creator of cultures. We have a lot of work at Museum of Goa why I celebrate ocean as a creator of culture. A lot of people came through the ocean, a lot of ideas came through the ocean. We have a lot of food items who came through the ocean. And the ocean does not just create patterns on the sand and patterns on the rocks, but the ocean creates cultures. Actually, the culture of Goa or culture of any coastal region is born in the womb of the ocean. It's born in the womb. And so we have created a lot of work where we celebrate the ocean as a medium of intercontinental cultural diffusions. There is a very interesting information I read recently. The animals came out of the ocean to the shore. And when they came out of the ocean to the shore and became dwellers of the land, they carried a piece of the ocean with them. And the proof of this is very simple. The content of sodium, potassium, and calcium in our blood is exactly the same as the content of sodium, potassium, and calcium in the ocean water. So we all carry a little bit of ocean in all of us. And I celebrate this ocean, and not just the ocean created us, and we carry ocean, but the land of Goa was born through the tectonic movement in the ocean. So Sahyadris, this conch shell was discovered at 600 meters high in the Sahyadris. This is a fossil of a conch shell, proving that the mountains and the land was created because of tectonic movements. If I have to talk about my contribution as an artist, of course I have been doing paintings, I have been doing sculptures, but one of the most important contribution of mine, I would say, which I could call my own, is something which I describe as performance installation. Performance installation is something which I create with people. Initially, I used to paint fishermen. Then I started working with the fishermen, making compositions with them, with choreographed walks with them on the beach. And this is a work which you will actually also see at the Goa airport, the Mopa airport. This is a new form of art, which I call a performance installation. And it basically talks about the inseparability of the life of the fisherman and the ocean, and how ocean contributed to making cultures. The Christianity came through the ocean. Here the fishermen become the fish, become the boat. Here they become the bone of the fish. Here they sit in a kind of a circle in creating some kind of a oceanic ritual. This is a work which is one of my favorite, which is called the Moon and the Tide. So I created a moon on Goa Vella beach. This is a beach which is very special. It was a port called Gopakapattanam during the Kadamba period. And then there was some silting happened, maybe because of a tsunami or something somewhere in the 14th century. And then today you can walk for half a kilometer into the ocean during low tide. And the tide almost crawls, comes very slowly. And this beach has a lot of shellfish, a lot of kube. And so I collected the shells, the clams on the beach and created a circle, which is my moon. And this is a moon which I created during low tide, and I waited for 6 hours for the high tide to come and drown my moon. So there, the moon is drowned. So the creator of the tide is drowned by the tide. That's the poetry of this installation. I have created a lot of work with fishing canoes. And why do I create the work with fishing canoes? Most of the fishermen used to use wooden canoes, and then they started using fiberglass boats now, because the fiberglass is lighter, it requires less petrol, and so it's economical, it requires no maintenance. And so the fishermen started discarding the wooden boats and buying fiberglass boats. So now I started buying the old boats from the fishermen, the wooden boats, and using those boats for creating sculptures. So this is a sculpture of a boat. And why do I do this? No, there has been a kind of a navigational connection between Arabia and India right from the Harapan civilization. Arab ships used to come 5,000 years ago to Lothal, which is one of the oldest ports in the world. And so I celebrate the navigational connection between the Arabian countries. So I took this work to Dubai, and we had an art fair where they were placed next to the Burj Arab. So this is celebrating the navigational history. One of the functions of art is basically to stir memory, and this is what I created. I used to create sculptures of boats, fishermen, and then since I call myself an ocean artist, and then since ocean is my canvas, and then I thought, why not have a memorandum of understanding with the ocean? So I signed a memorandum of understanding with the ocean, started creating sculptures, putting them in a cage and putting them at the bottom of the ocean in a cage, and oyster shells started developing on it. So this is a work in collaboration with the ocean. The sculptures sit at the bottom of the ocean for 3 years, and then I remove it again. And then, I don't know how much to charge for these works because I don't know how much the ocean charges per hour. So this is a cross, which is one of my favorites, and the cross is in iron, and it was kept in a cage in the ocean for 3 years. And then I took the artistic liberty of adding pearls, real pearls, to all the oyster shells. So though these oyster shells don't produce pearls. You already heard the story of the Bakibab Borkar talking about fish. Buying fish in Goa is a cultural activity. You know, you go to anywhere in the world, and when two men meet, they will talk about maybe weather. In England, they will say, oh, so bad weather. Maybe they will talk about women. They might talk about, in Gujarat, the stock prices. But in Goa, when two men meet, the first question is, what did you buy today? Aaj kiten getle? What did you buy today? And that basically means, what fish did you buy today? So two men talk fish when they meet in the morning. And then there are very interesting stories. I had a friend who is really a lover of fish. And he would say, before going to my consulting room, I went to Pomburfa. I went there early morning, and there was this very fresh mackerel, so I bought them. And then I thought I will go a little ahead and check what is there. And I went a little ahead, and one fisherwoman had red snapper. Only for 300 rupees, man, I should have waited. If I take both the red snapper and mackerels, then the wife will get angry. She'll say, who is going to clean it now? So these are the kind of conversations which men have in Goa. And buying of fish is a cultural activity. And I think the state of Goans without fish is like the state of fish without water. Everybody talks about the Portuguese influences of Goa. Of course, the Portuguese influences on Goa are huge, but there are lots of pre-Portuguese influences we tend to forget. So I'm going to this is a talk which is glimpses of Goa's history. It's not an academic talk on one aspect of Goa's history. So I'm going to tell you some very interesting facets of pre-Portuguese influences in Goa. And one of the most important influences actually from the Harapan civilization, because the whole country, the so-called Aryans came from what is Kazakhstan today. There's a wonderful book which is published recently. It is by Tony Joseph. It is called Early Indians. And that book analyzes who we are based on genetic studies, based on DNA. And by this, he has proven that Harappans were the oldest people here. Then the Aryans came, so-called Aryans came from the Kazakhstan area, which is a steppe area. They mixed with this, and they started driving these people a little bit to the south. And they wrote Vedas. The people who wrote Vedas came from places like Kazakhstan. They were not originally from here. And then the people who were Harappans here were pushed to the south. And there were a lot of mixtures which happened. The mixtures, according to this author, happened only till about 200 AD. And after that, so-called caste systems developed and mixtures stopped. Please read the book. It is a very, very beautiful book. But then, what are the Harappan things we all carry in us, which are the cultural parts of Harappan thing? They're a very interesting thing. The central courtyard in architecture is Harappan. The bangles, the bindi, the moat, water drawing systems, the phallus worship, the Shivalinga worship, Any village name which ends with Alli is from of Harappan origin, because that is a Harappan term. Amboli, Dandeli, Kanheri, Daboli, all these words are basically from Harappan period. Weights and measures, chess, village pond, yoga, Shiva, swastika, all these are things which originate in the Harappan civilization. This requires an independent lecture. Like Ashoka controlled almost the whole country, and Goa was part of it. So once upon a time, Goa was part of the Ashokan Empire. And then there were Bhojas, there were Konkan Mauryas, there were Chalukyas, there were Shilaharas, and there were Kadambas, and then the bus service is called Kadambas. So I think instead of telling you all this, there is a very beautiful analogy, a metaphor which is created by Manohar Malgaonkar. Kadambas ruled from 960 to 1356. Then the Tughlaq came, and from 1356 to 1378, then the Vijayanagar Empire, they ruled us. Then the Bahamanis conquered from Vijayanagar. Then the Bahmani Empire sort of disintegrated, and Yusuf Adil Shah controlled Goa, and then the Portuguese took over. But all this story, the metaphor is very interesting. The Sapoteshwar temple, which is in right now in Norway, the story of Sapoteshwar temple is a very interesting metaphor for the fluctuating fortunes of Goa. That's what Manohar Malgaonkar wrote, and I will explain to you how. It was built in Diwar by Kadambas in 1140. It was destroyed by Tughlaq in 1350. It was rebuilt by Vijayanagar in 1391, and this was in Diwar Island, not in Norway. This was in Diwar Island. I will show you the picture of Sapoteshwar. And then the Portuguese destroyed it, and then Narayan Suryarao Sardesai, one of the relations of Vijay Sardesai, he took the deity from Diwar Island to Norway and built a small shrine in 1540. And this shrine was then renovated by Shivaji in 1668. And then it was again disintegrating. And ultimately in 2000, Fundação Orient, which is a Portuguese organization, renovated it. Now, this is so beautiful. And this is the story of Sapoteshwar. And Sapoteshwar this is a present-day Sapoteshwar temple. And this is a temple which is in Diwar Island. The story of Sapoteshwar is an allegory for the fluctuating fortunes of Goa. So this actually explains the dates better than just giving you dates. Arab influences here are immense. Immense, there are so much. The Portuguese, when Alfonso de Albuquerque conquered Goa, they slaughtered 6,000 Muslims, because the Portuguese had come with a vengeance against Muslims, because the Muslims were controlling the Iberian Peninsula for almost 300 years, Portugal and Spain. And so they had an animosity with the Muslims. They had just driven them away. And when the battle happened in Old Goa, 6,000 Muslims were slaughtered. And there's a letter written by Albuquerque to his king mentioning that. Then 450 years the Portuguese ruled. But in spite of all this, what is the name of Saint Francis Xavier? We call him Goinso Sahib. And Sahib is an Arabic word. Mother Mary is called Saibin, and Saibin is an Arabic word. And all my Christian friends, often they say Saiba Bogos. Saiba Bogos is an Arabic term. God Sahib, forgive me. So the Arabic term, even the Mother Mary and the Saint Francis Xavier have Arabic names. There are so many other Arabic words which we use. We have, for example, Karz, Chabuk, Dang, Dushman, Bogos, Bandar, Barik, Ajap, Wakil. There are hundreds of words. These are just a few which I am mentioning. But one of the most interesting thing, which is written in a paper by Amitav Ghosh, is when two Goans greet, they will maybe say namaste, bow down, and then they touch the hand to the chest. And now this action of touching your hand to a chest and bowing is very Arabic. And this they learned from the Arabs. So Arab had huge influences on Goa, and these influences continue. Akash Kandil, which all of us for Diwali celebrate. Kandil is an Arabic word. And we had, of course, here we had diyas for Akash, for Diwali, the Panti. the diyas which were lit for Diwali. But a kandil is a very much influence of Muharram. In Muharram, the kandils were used, and even the word kandil is Arabic word. We have a lot of Kannada influences because a lot of kings who ruled Goa were from Karnataka. Actually, Kannada was the official language of Goa during that time, during the Kadamba period. And we have a lot of words which are Kannada, which are permeated here. Dudu, money, poiso, arco, alsando, tati, the egg, budi, the stick, mezop, to count. All these are Kannada words. So we have a lot of influences of all this. We have been told a lot of time that ours is a pure culture. We should maintain it. All this nonsense about the pure culture is a nonsense thing. Having pure culture is like having a non-peeing area in a swimming pool. It does not exist. So there is nothing called pure culture. No pure culture exists anywhere in the world. The Shigmo is, of course, again from the period when the people migrated from Shota Nagpur and Jharkhand and all these areas, people have come here. People in Goa have come from many places. And if you especially read this book by Tony Joseph, the conclusion is all of us are migrants. All of us are migrants. This is a very, very interesting sound which you will hear, a song. And this is sung by my friend Dr. Shakuntala Bharane. Hope she's there in the audience. Now, Vijayanagar, I mentioned, rebuilt the Sapoteshwar temple, and they captured Goa in 1378 from the Tughlaqs in 1378. And the king in Vijayanagar was Harihara. He conquered, and his minister, the man who came to conquer Goa, was called Madhav Mantri. There is no shrine to Madhav Mantri. There is no memorial to Madhav Mantri. But Madhav Mantri ruled Goa. The Vijayanagar ruled here for almost 100 years, 95 years. And this is 640 years ago. 640 years ago, Vijayanagar ruled here. Harihara ruled here. Today, the Gauda community of Chandor in South Goa, they sing a song. It's called Musal Khe. And this is a song which you will listen to.
O Siva, O Vira, Vasure Ghara, Sache Gana Hari Hara Ko, Sache Gana Hari Hara Ko. O Siva, O Vira, Vasure Ghara, Sache Gana Hari Hara Ko, Sache Gana Hari Hara Ko. Hari Hara to Khelu Khelota, Khelu Durga Bhair Shivarata ho, Khelu Durga Bhair Shivarata. Hari Hara to Khelu Khelota, Khelu Durga Bhair Shivarata ho, Khelu Durga Bhair Shivarata.
Isn't this beautiful? I mean, something which happened 640 years ago, the Gauda community, and some of them dress up like a Hindu Brahmin and sing this song. So they don't know who is Harihara, because but the history permeates through folk songs and through stories. It is not just in the academic archives that history lies. History lies everywhere.